Good morning, everybody. This is Ron Johnson with the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. Thanks for joining us. Again, I work for our state agency, the Department of Commerce, and what happens is that our agency receives notice of an impending layoff. It initiates our team of folks to talk about what resources are available. So today, we're going to discuss a myriad of employment and training resources, unemployment insurance, continuing health coverage. That is our goal today, to provide you with information that will make your transition to other employment smooth and efficient. I am joined today by Susie Pajera. She's from the American Job Center in DuPage County, and she's going to speak to those employment and training resources, providing very valuable information to help folks transition. Her office does a fantastic job at helping folks transition to other employment. They have worked with employers in the community to determine what employment opportunities are available, with the goal of matching the folks who are affected by a layoff, their skill sets with those employment opportunities so that they can make a smooth transition. There are also a myriad of other resources that she's going to speak to very soon. Also, Scott Miller is from the United States Department of Labor. He's going to talk about continuing health coverage and important benefit information, retirement benefit information, all very valuable. Scott Miller's office is fantastic at handling questions of employees because they have a live person who will answer the phone and steer you in the right direction. Fernando Reyna is an expert at the Illinois Department of Employment Security, and he's going to speak to unemployment insurance. And ideally, all of us will answer questions that you may have during our presentation today. So, our program is funded by the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. You guys may hear the term WIOA, W-I-O-A. It's the program that our federal tax dollars are used to provide resources to dislocated workers, all at no cost to the employees, as we have all paid through our federal tax dollars. There are two ways for employees to access that employment and training information. One, again, our partner here, Susie Pajera, is going to talk in a little bit, is located in DuPage County. And again, they do a fantastic job at helping folks transition. And because Doumak employees are affected by a layoff in DuPage County, Susie Pajera's office can accommodate you. But if you choose to go to an American Job Center in a different county other than DuPage because you live in a different county, then the Illinois workNet.com website will allow you to find an American Job Center in the county in which you live, if that is what you choose to do. So I'm going to make that clear. Susie Pajera is here from the American Job Center in DuPage County. Because you are affected by a layoff here in DuPage County, Susie Pajera can accommodate you. But if traveling is an issue or concern, you can go to an American Job Center in the county in which you live. And one other important bit of information, I mentioned earlier, this is a federal program. So if you move to another state or live in Wisconsin or Indiana, you can go to an American Job Center in the state in which you move to or live in because it's a federal program. It is important, if you have already received a layoff letter of some sort, to keep that layoff letter because it's kind of like a ticket to services. You'll take that layoff letter to an American Job Center. It ties you to this event, if you will, and you will be eligible as a dislocated worker. A dislocated worker is a person who will be laid off due to no fault of their own. So with that, our experts are going to talk to you about those resources. At some point, we'll open the mic to ask questions, for us to answer your questions. And if we don't have the answer today, we'll utilize our network of resources to supply you with the information later. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that Susie Pajera can speak to employment and training resource.
All right, good morning. This is Susie Pajera. I'm with workNet DuPage, the DuPage County located American Job Center. Welcome this morning. This is our team that will be speaking, as Ron had already kindly introduced us. Here's the agenda, as Ron had already mentioned. And then Ron also talked about the federal program that I'm now going to talk about the specifics in regards to the resources and services available uh, to the Doumak employees. One slide here, as Ron had mentioned, that this is a federal program, so you can access these services anywhere in the United States. An easy way to do that is to go to the careeronestop.org website, enter in your zip code to locate the American Job Center that would be closest to your location, again, anywhere in the United States. So if you reside outside of Illinois, you can use this website, as well as if you live in Illinois, you can use this website to, again, locate your closest American Job Center. So I am with workNet DuPage. Again, DuPage is, or workNet DuPage is the local American Job Center. We're sharing information this morning because the employer is located in DuPage County. And please remember that you have choice in regards to where you wish to access services. So if you live outside of DuPage because you work for an employer in DuPage, you are still more than welcome to come to workNet DuPage located in Lisle to access the services that I'm going to speak of. Additionally, all services are free of charge because of the layoff event occurring at Doumak. Your ticket to eligibility is your written letter that you've received, your warn letter. It is important that you have that because, again, that is how we know you are eligible to receive the services that I'll speak of. So the first side of services that I want to talk about is our job seeker services, or our career services. And as you look at the screen, you see that we have one-on-one career coaching, job search workshops, employer connections, and then I'll also speak about funding for occupational training grants. So I'll kind of quickly go through our job seeker mistakes that we like to discuss. The first one is always that job seekers rely on one method, which is just applying for jobs online and then waiting for the employer to respond. What we like to share is that less than 20% of job seekers are hired through online applications that are received. Number two is that job seekers will neglect their networks. You should know that 80% of job seekers are hired, are known candidates. And so making connections with family and friends, former bosses, colleagues, former coworkers, etc., to learn about job opportunities is really the #1 way to finding your next job. If you are submitting a resume, it's really important that you do customize the resume for that particular job that you're applying for, that you're making sure that you have the keyword matches that are listed in the job posting for that particular job that you're applying for, and that you show achievements and accomplishments relevant to that job posting. It is also very important that you research the company before you interview, so that you're asking informative questions and that you're showing interest in the job. Let the employers drive the job search. This is relevant to #1 in regards to that your only method to looking for a job is applying for jobs online, not networking as well. But it is important that you are proactive, seeking new opportunities, speaking to people about jobs, and that you continue to actively look for a job until you start that next position. And then #6 is begin job hunting without understanding your skills, strengths, accomplishments, and value in the job market. This is probably the #1 mistake that most job seekers make. you really need to take some time to go through what we call a skills assessment or career assessment, identifying your skills, your strengths, your transferable skills, your achievements, your accomplishments, knowing your salary and benefit requirements. And so we do have services specific to we do have specific services that are specific to, um, excuse me, to help you with your job search. And so again, I spoke about that career assessment. So really identifying your skills, what skills are transferable, your achievements, and how those will help the next employer that you are looking to work for. The career coaches can also help you with resume optimization or writing your resume, and then also mock interviewing or interview practice. So receiving that one-on-one career coaching support, that job search support until you actually start your next position. We also have a couple different programs, our Fast Track Bootcamp series, these are our workshop offerings. So we have workshops where we talk about resume writing. How do you write a resume? What is the appropriate type of resume for you? Networking tools, interview preparation, conveying your message, salary and negotiation, behavioral interview, skills identification, and then how to structure your job search. So these workshop offerings are all inclusive in regards to you having setting up a successful job search. And then again, as you attend the workshops, you would also have that one-on-one support available to you through a career coach in our office. Friday mornings, we have our virtual Friday morning job club. So our virtual Friday morning job club meets 9 a.m. every week. You can join our Friday morning job club by going onto our website, which is worknetdupage.org, and going to the job seekers tab, following that to our job club registration page, and there you can register to attend any one of the July offerings, again, for our Friday morning job club. So this Friday, July 17th, we have virtual interviewing. Clearly, the job search has changed drastically in the last few months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So this would be a really valuable job club program to attend. And then again, if you go to the website, you can view the schedule for the rest of July as well. And again, this is a free resource that's available. Before I go into talking about training, I do want to just note that the services that I'm speaking of are specific to WorkNet DuPage or DuPage County. And so if you were to go to another center, they may not have the same exact offerings. They will have similar offerings in regards to that they will have job search workshops. They just do not package it the same way we do in regards to how we have it packaged into our Fast Track to a Job Search or our Bootcamp series. So some of the services from county to county in regards to how they are administered or provided may vary from office to office. That also includes what I'm going to talk about in regards to the WIOA training grants. So through DuPage County, we offer up to $10,000 in funding for either to upgrade or advance your skill set, obtain professional certifications, and maybe retrain into a new vocation or occupation. But again, please remember that this dollar amount may vary from county to county. Doesn't necessarily mean that services are less in regards to if their training grant isn't up to the $10,000. The services are similar from area to area. So at DuPage County, we offer up to $10,000 through a WIOA training grant. And the purpose of the training grant is to help an individual obtain the skills that are necessary for them to be competitive in their job search. If you are interested in speaking with a career counselor in our office about training grant approval, the way that that process works is you would connect with the career counselor and you would map out an individual career transition plan with them, which would also include putting together a training grant for approval. If you're approved for a WIOA training grant, those dollars will pay for your tuition, books, fees, equipment, whatever is a part of that approved training program. The other benefit to you is that you can receive your unemployment insurance benefits while you're going to school through a WIOA funded program. And what it does is it waives your job search requirements while you're attending your classes. So instead of having to do your work search requirement every 2 weeks, you would certify that you're attending your classes and you're still able to receive your benefits. Probably the most important thing to note about WIOA training grants is that there's no need to pay it back. It's not a student loan. These are dollars that are available to workers that have been impacted by a layoff event. And the purpose of the program is to help these workers get back to work as soon as possible. But however, in some individuals' cases, it is necessary for one to go back to school to obtain the skills to be competitive in their job search. So if you look at the bottom part of the screen, and there are a couple important notes. It notes that approval is based on your need and suitability. And I'll give you a couple examples. Excuse me. Say you are one of the packers there at Doumak. This may be the opportunity for you to identify a new career. Maybe you have an interest in going into the healthcare industry or IT, or furthering yourself in the manufacturing environment. This may be the opportunity for the WIOA program to fund that training opportunity for you to find that new career path. And then the other thing that I want to note is that assuming you're eligible for unemployment insurance benefits, if you are in a long-term training program, the training program does not extend your unemployment benefits for the entire time of your training program. You would still only be eligible for what is currently available through the state or some of the federal stimulus benefits that are currently available, but Fernando will discuss that during his presentation. So the four major in-demand industries that we train in are manufacturing, IT, supply chain logistics, and healthcare. Here are the most popular training programs that we fund in the healthcare industry. And as you can see, there are several of them. So if you have an interest in helping people and going into healthcare, you may want to look into training approval for one of these programs. Here's information technology. So there are training opportunities for an individual to go into, and I'm just going to kind of take these bullet points that you see and group them. So there are training opportunities in e-commerce or web design, cybersecurity certifications, cloud-based technology, help desk. So if you really like working with people, but you have an interest in working in information technology, help desk may be an area that you would be interested in pursuing. There's also business analysis and then big data management. Here's manufacturing. So if you would like to stay in the manufacturing environment, but you would like to advance your skill set, you may be interested in CNC training or Swiss CNC, welding, maintenance mechanic technician training, or quality control. And then popular training programs under transportation, distribution, and logistics. So you would be, or you could obtain your CDL. Automotive technology, and then there's also a variety of training opportunities available in supply chain management or supply chain planning. Here's a list of some just additional opportunities that we train in. And then as you see on the bottom of the screen, we note Illinois workNet. Illinois workNet is the state administered site that currently holds the list of approved WIOA training programs and WIOA approved providers. So training programs have to be approved or meet WIOA requirements, meaning that all training programs have to be in a high demand occupation. So high demand meaning that there's going to be employment opportunities out there once you complete your training program. And then schools have to be approved as well. And that is for your benefit as a student. We want to make sure that those schools are legitimate and that they're offering a valuable education. So if you go through a training program, you would also have the benefit of participating in the career services afterwards so that we can continue to support you until you land that next job. And that would be then connecting into our job search workshops, working with a career coach on resume writing or interview practice. So just to recap what I've discussed, we do customized career transition plans, putting together those WIOA training grant requests, that all the services available at workNet DuPage are free of charge, funded through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. Again, we fund professional certifications to advance your skill set, maybe find a new career path, and that we provide those job search support services, and that we provide genuine support. All the staff at workNet DuPage are vested in working with our clients to ensure your success with landing that next job. Here's just a couple success stories. This is Susan, who was laid off by the closing of the Carson's stores. She went through our office technology program after working for Carson's for many, many years and obtained a new position. Here is George. George is now a physical therapist assistant. He was laid off from General Mills. So a similar position that you may be in. And he is now working in the healthcare industry. So let us help you launch your career. Step one would be to complete an application. And I believe Dorothy or Adela have a paper form that you can fill out that they will then send to me. Once I receive that paper form, I will then email you the application for you to connect with either a career coach or a career counselor in our office. But if you do have any questions after today's webinar, on the bottom of the screen, you see my email address. Please feel free to email me. At the end of the presentation, you will see a slide that has all of our contact information, and that will also include my phone number as well. Also, if you're eager to start, if you're eager to start, you can go onto our website, worknetdupage.org, subscribe to our email list so that you can receive weekly emails about the upcoming events that we have available. You can also go onto the website to attend our virtual job club on Friday. I also want to note that the staff in our office are bilingual. So if English is not your first language and you're more comfortable speaking in Spanish, there are staff available to assist you. Here is our website, so worknet2page.org. I always encourage individuals to go onto the site, take a look around. There's a lot of great resources for you on the website. And again, the website allows you to be able to register to attend our Friday morning job club. And I do want to also note that the center is currently closed to the public. However, we are working with employees virtually. So career coaches and the career counseling staff are working one-on-one with individuals either through Zoom meetings or Skype, telephone, communicating through email as well. But it is important to note that the center is currently closed to the public due to the pandemic. But we are still working with laid off workers. So before I turn it over to Scott, are there any questions that I can answer in regards to the employment and training resources that are available?
No questions at this time.
If there's no questions, then I will go ahead and turn it over to Scott then. Thank you for your time this morning. And then also, Scott, before I turn it over to you, Dorothy, if you have that paper form that I sent over to you, if you could, at least at the end of the presentation, have the workers that are attending fill that out and then send those to me, and then we can reach out and make contact to connect them to services and resources.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank you so much. All right, with that said, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Scott.
Good morning, everybody. This is Scott Miller with the U.S. Department of Labor. Specifically within the U.S. Department of Labor, we are the Employee Benefits Security Administration, and we oversee the laws that apply to benefit plans that private sector employers sponsor, such as health insurance and retirement benefits. And because of that, we're going to discuss what your rights are to either maintaining health insurance coverage following the job loss or obtaining new health insurance coverage following the job loss. And we'll also touch on some information about retirement plan benefits. Specifically today, we're going to talk about 3 main federal laws that apply to health insurance coverage. I'll also touch on a few options within the state of Illinois, and then also a few options within DuPage County. Now, Adela and I had exchanged voicemail messages, so I hope my understanding of your benefits is correct. If it's not, Adela, please interrupt me to let me know if I've misinterpreted some of the information that was provided. Now, my understanding from Adela is that the company is going to continue to pay your health insurance benefits with the union through October. So we're going to base our discussion today under the presumption that your health insurance with the union is going to end on October 31st. And the first option that we're going to talk about today will allow you to continue your health care coverage that you currently have through what we call the federal COBRA laws. Again, COBRA is going to allow you to remain on, I guess in this situation would be on the union's health plan for up to 18 months following the job loss. Now, if you or one of your family members who is on the insurance has been deemed disabled by the Social Security Administration, you can extend COBRA for an additional 11 months and have it for a total of 29 months. If you are in the situation where you or a family member has been deemed disabled, please feel free to reach out to me so I can explain what the rules are for requesting the disability extension. There are some time-sensitive rules that are involved. Now, obviously, the nice thing is with COBRA that you can stay on the same plan. The downside to COBRA has to do with the costs associated with it. So when you go on to COBRA, you're responsible for paying the full amount of the premiums, and that also includes a 2% administrative fee. So COBRA can be expensive, particularly if you have really good insurance. So a lot of people will suffer what we would call sticker shock when they do receive their COBRA election notice, which is referenced in the next bullet. There is a formal process to get onto COBRA. In this situation, the plan would have 44 days to send you out your COBRA election notice from the day that you lose your insurance coverage. And then you have 60 days to elect whether or not you want to take the COBRA coverage. And from the day you elect, you have an additional 45 days to make your first payment. Keep in mind that the coverage is not going to be reinstated until you both elect and pay for it. So the question may be, well, what happens during the election period? Do I have healthcare coverage? So again, my understanding is that the coverage will end on October 31st. So for example, let's say on November 1st, you went to the doctor or you went to the pharmacy to get a prescription filled. They would run your insurance and show that it had ended on October 31st. There's no reason to panic. As the next bullet point is going to indicate, once you're back on COBRA, any out-of-pocket expenses that you incur or any claims that you incur will be taken care of by the plan. So for example, if you did have to go fill a prescription, let's say November 1st, pharmacy, again, they're going to run your insurance and see that it ended on October 31st, and they'll either do one of two things. They'll either be very understanding and they'll say, just pay your regular copay for the prescription, and then they'll bill insurance once COBRA has been reinstated. Or worst case scenario, you may have to pay out of pocket for that prescription. If that is in fact the case, hold on to your receipt, and then you would submit that receipt to your plan and you would be reimbursed. In no event should anybody be refused medical treatment while you're on your COBRA election period. Just make sure that you let the provider know what the situation is so that they understand that you're going to have retroactive coverage. I want to point out a couple other things with COBRA, kind of what you may call some tips. Let's say, for example, you have family coverage right now, but just one family member really needs to take the COBRA coverage because he or she maybe is going through physical therapy, or they take really expensive prescriptions, or they need to have surgery. You can elect COBRA for just one member of your family. It doesn't have to be you as the covered employee. You can elect it for just one family member who really needs the insurance, and then rather than paying the family rate of the premiums, you would only have to pay the single rate, and then the other individuals could get healthcare coverage elsewhere with some of the options that we're going to discuss. It's just one of the ways that you can potentially reduce your costs. Another thing to point out under COBRA is that, and this is based on Medicare secondary payer rules, if anybody, whether it's yourself or it's a family member, is currently on Medicare, when you're actively employed, the general rule is that your employer or your union insurance is going to be primary and Medicare is going to be secondary. However, when you go on to COBRA, it flips, and it's important to understand this because Medicare is going to be primary, COBRA is going to be secondary insurance. And it's important to point this out because if you are in this situation, you need to make sure that you enroll in Medicare Part B so that you do have primary insurance coverage. Also, if you're in this situation, it's very likely that you could get a Medicare supplement that is more affordable than COBRA. So just something to point out, if anybody does need any assistance with Medicare, the Illinois Department of Aging has the Senior Health Insurance Program, or SHIP, that can provide counselors to you for Medicare. And when I conclude my presentation, I will put in the chat box the contact information for that program, as it's not referenced in the slides. One other thing that you could use to your advantage, we had talked about the election process. Let's say, for example, you're on your COBRA election process, but you know that you have a job that's going to start in the next 30 days, for example, or you know that because that new job starts, you're going to have health insurance that's going to start, within a short period of time. What you can do is just make sure you elect COBRA within the 60 days. Again, I mentioned you have an additional 45 days to make your first payment. Maybe by the time that payment is due, you're now covered under a new employer's group health plan. If you didn't need to use the insurance during the election period, there would be no reason for you to make that COBRA payment. So it's one of the few reasons or few times that you're able to actually get retroactive insurance for something, so you can kind of use the elongated election period towards your advantage. So again, that first option is COBRA. The second option we're going to talk about has to do with HIPAA special enrollment. Now, this applies if you're married and your spouse is employed and your spouse's employer provides a health insurance plan, or you happen to be under the age of 26 and your parents have a health insurance plan. You can jump onto that plan based on losing your insurance from the job loss. Now, in this situation, you don't have to wait for the open enrollment season. You can get on their plan as long as your spouse or your parent makes this request within 30 days of when you lose your health insurance coverage. And that's the key. Make sure you do it within 30 days. That plan then has to cover you no later than the first of the month following the month that you make that request, as the next bullet point is going to indicate. So unlike COBRA, it's not retroactive coverage. And you certainly, as you know that your insurance is going to end, it sounds like on October 31st, you can always have your spouse, make that request ahead of time so that you could have a nice smooth transition with your coverage to begin November 1st. The next bullet point is going to talk about a severance plan, how severance affects this. This would not apply in your situation. So we are going to now turn our attention to the next option, which is going to be the Affordable Care Act or the health insurance marketplace. Now, each state has their own marketplace, which is kind of like a one-stop shop for finding health insurance coverage. The way that they do the enrollment is that the marketplace will allow you to start the enrollment process up to 60 days before your insurance ends, all the way to 60 days after your insurance ends. And you need to enroll by the 15th of the month for your coverage to begin the first of the following month. So again, going on the presumption that your insurance will end on October 31st, if you wanted marketplace coverage to begin November 1st, you would need to make sure that you enroll by October 15th. And again, coverage is not retroactive. There are many different options within the marketplace. You can shop for plans that have different carriers. Obviously, there's going to be different premiums involved, different deductibles, different networks of doctors. The marketplace is also going to determine whether you qualify for Medicaid as well. There are 4 tiers of coverage within the marketplace that you can choose from. There's platinum, gold, silver, bronze. Platinum is the best plan. With the platinum program, it's essentially what we would call a 90-10 plan, meaning after you pay your premiums, the plan pays approximately 90% of the costs. You pay 10%. Gold is 80-20. Platinum is 90-10, gold is 80-20, silver is 70-30, and bronze is 60-40. The next bullet point is not going to apply in this situation because we're not talking about a severance. But on the next slide, we do have the contact information for the marketplace in Illinois, which is called Get Covered Illinois. Also, you have the contact information for Robin Lavender. She is an ACA navigator within the marketplace. If the marketplace is something that you're interested in, please reach out to her. You do have her telephone number there as well as her email address. If by chance you are moving out of the state of Illinois, you can contact the 800 number listed there, or you can go to healthcare.gov. I do also want to point out, if anybody has dependent children under the age of 18, there's a program in Illinois called Illinois All Kids. It is an income-based program, but it provides affordable health insurance coverage to children under the age of 18. Again, when my presentation concludes, I will put the contact information for that program in the chat box. Also, if anybody is a veteran, there is Veterans Care through the Illinois Department of Health and Family Services that can provide health insurance as well. I will include that contact information in the chat box as well. Then the next slide is going to mention a few programs through DuPage County. The first is Access to Page, and this will help individuals who don't qualify for private insurance, the ACA, or Medicaid to get medical care through a network of doctors, offices, pharmacies, and hospitals in DuPage County. There's also DuPage Dispensary of Hope, which is a pharmacy program that helps low-income and uninsured individuals get free medications with a prescription from a doctor. And then finally, we have Silver Access DuPage. I had mentioned how there's 4 tiers of coverage through the marketplace. If you happen to choose the Silver program, you can potentially qualify for up to $150 per member per month in premium assistance. The requirement there, again, is that you have to enroll in the Affordable Care Act marketplace and choose a silver level plan. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention that I want to touch on, and Susie, if you don't mind, I apologize, going back to the COBRA slide. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, our agency, along with the IRS or Treasury, has extended the timeframes for electing COBRA and making your first payment for COBRA, as well as the 30 days that we talked about for HIPAA special enrollment. There's a bunch of materials that are available from this presentation. One of the pieces of information is going to be a COVID-19 extension of time frame, and it's going to discuss how you actually have additional time than what is referenced here in order to both elect and pay for COBRA, as well as electing HIPAA special enrollment. Essentially, the way that works is, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there was a national emergency that was declared on March 1st, and that is currently ongoing. Within that national emergency, they have defined an outbreak period that we're currently going through. And that outbreak period begins on March 1st, which coincides with the national emergency, and it continues until after 60 days after the end of the national emergency. So whenever the national emergency is declared over, there's going to be a period of 60 days after that when the outbreak period ends. Basically, during this outbreak period, it's like we've pushed pause on time, meaning that during this outbreak period, none of the timeframes that we have referenced, such as the 60 days to elect COBRA or the 45 days to make your first payment, apply. So you technically have additional time, again, to both make your initial election to COBRA, making your first payment towards COBRA, and utilizing HIPAA special enrollment. But you have to keep in mind that if you use these extended time frames, especially for COBRA, for example, that first payment is going to cost you a lot more because you're paying for more months at a time, and it's going to take longer to get the insurance retroactively reinstated. If you utilize this for HIPAA special enrollment, as we talked about, the employer doesn't have to cover you until the first of the month following the month your spouse makes that request. So you're going to end up not having, it's going to take longer for you to get insurance, is really the bottom line. I just bring this up just so you understand that you do have more time to elect, but that more time can cause a negative effect on you. If anybody does have any questions, more specifics as to how those time frames work, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Before we turn our attention to the retirement plan aspect, does anybody have any questions about any of the health insurance programs I have referenced?
So it means after like,
Ron, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean like after our insurance it cover until October,
31st.
and then after October we still have like 60 days for enrollment for the coverage our insurance during that we lost the job. Is that right?
For COBRA.
The cover.
Yes.
So
Yes, so again, with COBRA, and as I understand it, you have insurance through the union. The union is going to be obligated to send you out a COBRA election notice. And as I had referenced, they have 44 days to send that out to you from the day the insurance ends. You then get 60 days to elect whether you want the insurance, and it's 60 days from it's 60 days from the later of when they send you the notice or your insurance ends. And then from that date, from the day you actually elect the coverage, the law gives you an additional 45 days to make your first payment. So keep in mind, the sooner you both elect and then pay for the coverage, the sooner they're going to reinstate it. Does that answer your question, sir?
Were you talking about the 30 days, like if your spouse has, because that's where the 30 days timing, if you
Yeah,
if you
so
have a spouse.
30 days is if you're going to use HIPAA special enrollment and jump onto your spouse's plan.
And this one, how they notice to us that our insurance is end, and then we can enroll to.
To Cobra? The union will send you a letter.
Oh, they send a
Yeah.
mail to us.
They will
right?
mail it to you. Yeah, the union will be sending you a letter letting you know that you're eligible
Yeah.
for Cobra
Oh, okay.
and what the steps are.
For the Cobra that we like the enrollment for the Cobra, but this one is we need to pay for that. They cover the insurance. This one, or we need still to pay for them, or what?
Yes, you would have to pay full price for the insurance.
Right.
How much is it?
I think it's about $1,200, yeah,
Oh,
a month.
A month.
no one. Or depend on the.
So one of the
Yeah.
things that you can do if you already have some idea as to what the costs are, and it does sound like it may be expensive, you can reach out to the marketplace in Illinois, for example, and you also reach out to Robin Lavender and just kind of get some information ahead of time. You know, even though your insurance isn't going to end until October 31st, you can at least get some information as to what the costs for the marketplace are going to be, just to kind of do some comparative shopping to see if, you know, the marketplace may be a much more affordable or better option for you.
$1,200 a month.
Scott, if you can send me that slide, email it to me, I'll print it off for them, so they have that phone number.
Susie, are they getting a copy of the presentation or this information?
I don't have a copy of the presentation. Do you have that? If you
Yeah,
can
or-
send it,
Did you receive the box of literature
Yeah.
from us?
Yes. Is
Okay,
that information in there?
yes, so there's a small card that, that says WorkNet to page.
Jody,
And
we
on the
got that.
back side of that card, it says other resources.
No, I didn't look at the back.
And
But do
there
we
should-
have Robin's phone number? I don't think we have Robin's phone number on there. That's what I was looking for.
Okay, yeah, you only have her email address on there? I thought her phone number was on there as well.
Yeah, it is.
It is?
Okay.
It is.
Okay,
Okay.
It's on there. Yeah, thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay.
And the
Any
back-
other questions before we move on to retirement?
No.
Not at the moment. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so my understanding is that you guys have a 401k plan with Doumak that is through Fidelity. Now, normally, shortly after the employment ends, Doumak is going to notify Fidelity that you've had a change in your employment status. At that time, you should be able to take a distribution of your 401k account. Keep in mind, if you take a straight distribution, meaning Fidelity is going to send you a check in your name or do an electronic funds transfer, and it's going into your checking or your savings account, they are automatically going to take 20% right off the top in taxes. There's really no way to get around that 20% automatic tax withholding. Additionally, you may be subject to an additional 10% tax penalty if you are under the age of 59 and a half. Now, there are a couple exceptions to this additional 10% tax penalty. One that may apply has to do with the fact that we're dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, the IRS has relaxed some of those tax laws. That's certainly something that you can discuss with Fidelity. They'll have more information on that. Also, one of the publications that should be available to you is a frequently asked questions for COVID-19 that our agency put out. And I think there's some information about it in that. And it may also refer you to go to the IRS website. So again, automatic 20% withholding in taxes, potential 10% penalty if you're under the age of 59 and a half. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you do take a straight distribution, and Fernando may reference this during his unemployment presentation, is that a distribution can potentially affect your unemployment benefits in the period in which that you're claiming that. So do keep that in mind. Now, if you choose instead to do a rollover of your 401k account, such as you're going to roll it into an IRA with a bank or a financial institution, or you're going to roll it into your next employer's plan, there are no tax consequences whatsoever with a rollover. You won't pay taxes on that money until you physically take possession of it out of that account. So again, no tax consequences with a rollover. The third option would be if you just choose to leave your account with the plan. Due to IRS rules, the only time you can really be forced out of the plan is if you have a balance of under $5,000 or the plan is being terminated. If you do choose to leave it with them, nothing wrong with that. You may be very happy with the investment options that you have. You may be happy that you're, to have your money with Fidelity. We would just want to let you know it's very important to make sure that both Doumak and Fidelity have your current mailing address as well as your current email address. And make sure your email address is your personal email. I know a lot of people, when they sign up for their 401k through their employer, they may use a work email address. So make sure that gets changed to your personal email address, because the plan is going to be, either mailing you or emailing you disclosure information at least on an annual basis. Now, obviously, you would have with Fidelity, you'll be able to log into your account and get a daily balance. But it's just very, very important that they know how to reach you. Because again, companies may, could get bought and sold. Doumak may decide one day that they want to switch from Fidelity to another company, and you want to make sure that you always know where your 401k plan is at. So again, if you do leave it with them, just make sure they have your information. Della had mentioned that you guys also have some type of severance plan through the union. I'm not that familiar with that plan, but that's definitely something that you want to speak to the union about. You may be eligible to receive those benefits as well based on the layoff. I'm not sure whether you guys have a pension with your local, but if you do, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I can certainly, address any questions you may have about your pension. If you need any assistance with getting your distribution with Fidelity, or you want some help on the phone with them, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My contact information should be at the end of the presentation today, so please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to assist you however I can. Just want to see, does anybody have any questions about the 401k or anything like that before I end for today?
No, any more questions?
Any questions?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Well, again, if anybody has any questions or needs any assistance with their benefits, even if it's not based on this, the job loss here, but if you have any questions about a future employer's benefits, or you need any help with your union benefits, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'll do everything I can to help you. I thank you guys so much for your time this morning, and I'm now going to turn it over to Fernando to talk about unemployment, and I will include those other pieces of contact information in the chat box for you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Fernando Reyna. I'm with the Illinois Department of Employment Security here in North Aurora. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. It's like I get a little bit of feedback on my end. Just let me adjust my volume just a second. Hello, am I still on?
Yes.
Yes.
Hello? Great. Okay. like I said, my name is Fernando Reyna. I work with the Illinois Department of Employment Security, and I'm going to talk to you today about how to file your claim for unemployment benefits. Can someone tell me when is the actual date of separation?
July 27th.
July 27th. Okay. So when people first hear about that they're going to be being separated from their job, one of the questions that they always ask is, when do I file for unemployment benefits? And we always tell individuals that you file the very next week after your separation. Okay. You can also file the very last day, but you also have to keep in mind that you have to have some wage information, and I'll get to that once I start going through the slides. But what you would want to do is that as of right now, you all know that all our offices are closed statewide. So as of right now, in order for you to file your unemployment claim, you have to go online, and our website is located at the top of that, at the top of the screen at ides.illinois.gov. And when you go to our website, you're going to see that there's going to say individuals, employers, workforce partners, tools and resource, and another tab where it says about IDES. You're going to want to go to the section where it says individuals, and then you're going to scroll down to the middle where it says file a UI claim online. Okay? So once you click on that, go ahead. Okay, as this has been something that went on a few months ago, telling us about when you should file for your claim. These have been laxed a little, so as of right now, you can file any day. There is no more restriction. You can just file, any day that you please. But before, when we were getting those large numbers of individuals that were applying when this pandemic first started, we had set a schedule for individuals to file their claim. So individuals that their last names begin with that went with the letters A through M, they were told to file on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Last names that began with the letter N through Z were told to file on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Saturdays were available for anyone to file. And, of course, at the very bottom, it told you that individuals, that our system was down between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. for claims processing. But like I said, as of now, those are a little bit lax. You don't have to worry about that. You can file whenever you please. If you wanted to call the call center for filing it, it would follow the same procedure. And I'll get to that once we go a little bit further down the slides. Okay, so this is the screen that I wanted to direct you to. So once you would log in, the first thing you need to do is to register. You need to create a username and password. So this is the first screen that you see when you file in. It says that you need to enter your information, a username and password. At the very bottom, it says if you have not established a username and password, you are to click there. Okay, so once you click on there, you're going to go to the very next screen, and this is how you verify your identity. Two things that you need are either a state ID or your driver's license and your social security number. That is important for us to determine your identity. So at the very top where you see identification type, you're either going to indicate it's a driver's license or a state ID, and you're going to go ahead and enter your identification number. And anything that has a red asterisk on it, you're going to fill out. It is a requirement. Now, if you have an out-of-state ID, and that ID does not have a weight listed on that, you are going to enter 0, okay? But outside of that, it is a requirement that you entered it. Now, some individuals, they have an old ID, so their weight might be different. You might have, your weight might have changed, but you have to indicate what's listed on your ID, okay? So whatever it says in the ID, that's how we're going to verify that it's you that's applying for benefits. Okay. Once you enter all the information, you're going to go ahead and hit continue. Okay. Once you hit continue, that means you've established a username and password. Once you receive that, you are going to start filing, right? So it'll ask you a series of questions. One will be your work history. Okay. We're going to ask you where you've worked in the last 18 months. So if you have a part-time job outside of this job that you've been working, you have to tell us about that job as well. Okay, so it's any and all employment that you've had during the last 18 months. once you complete your application, you will be receiving a UI finding letter. The UI finding letter is usually mailed out within 24 to 48 hours after you file your claim. Okay, so the letter is going to look similar to the one that's on the screen right now. Okay, the UI finding letter will provide you with a claimant ID. The claimant ID is your identification number that we use to identify you should you call us or we need to process any type of documents that are associated to your claim. So that claimant ID is just as important as your Social Security number with regards to your unemployment. Okay, the UI finding letter will have your name. Okay, it'll tell you who you last worked for. It'll tell you the payment method that you've chosen. You can choose to either go with direct deposit or a debit card. A debit card is chosen automatically when anyone files a claim. So whenever you file it, regardless if you sign up for direct deposit immediately after the claim, you will still be sent a debit card. Okay? It'll tell you who your last employer was and what was the reason of separation. Okay? So when you see that letter, that's the letter to confirm that everything that you've entered. It is also important for you to look at the very bottom of that sheet where it says qualifying period quarters. Just this section right here, that's called the base period. So this is the base period of the time frame that we're looking at to determine what your weekly benefit amount will be. Now, some individuals may have a little bit more or a little bit less depending on how much they've earned. Okay, we've seen it in the past where individuals say, well, I've worked with the same individual for the last 10 years and they got a little bit more. Okay, it also depends if they have a part-time job or not. So please take that into account. Not everyone's going to receive the exact same amount. It may differ for some individuals, okay? So that's just something to be mindful of. At the very bottom, you will also see the UI monetary determination. Your weekly benefit amount is the amount that's going to be allocated to you per week, but you receive your payment on a bi-weekly basis, okay? It'll also tell you whether or not you have a dependent allowance, and it'll tell you the total benefit amount payable per week. Okay? So as of right now, if you are single with no dependents, the maximum amount you can receive is $484. Okay? If you have a non-working spouse as a dependent, in other words, that your spouse has not worked in the state of Illinois within the last 18 months and they are not eligible for benefits, you would receive $577. Okay, let's say that you have a dependent that's under the age of 18. Okay, then your amount will be $669. Now, for some individuals that may have you may have your spouse working in the same location and you have more than one child, you could only claim one dependent per household. One dependent per household. So it's you decide. You can decide who would get the dependent. Some people choose to have the individual that's going to be receiving a little bit more and get the dependent, so therefore they'll get a little bit more of the dependent allowance. But again, it's only one dependent per child per household. And regardless if you have one or two or three children, it's the same amount. So you get a set amount regardless of how many dependent children you have. Okay?
Okay.
Fernando?
Yes.
Fernando, this is Susie.
Yes, Susie.
Can I just ask one thing? Can we go back just to make sure that people know they're supposed to, what reason they're supposed to select when they're filing their claim? Can you just explain the difference between discharged, fired, and laid off, lack of work? Because that
Correct.
is a
Yes,
comment.
we can do that. Okay. So when you filed your claim, there's going to be several choices for you to make to let us know what the reason of separation. So a layoff means that there's been an agreement between you, the employee, and the employer that there is no work available. Okay, that means it's there is no work available, so therefore there's a separation. The other one is a discharge, also known as a fired. Okay, a discharge means that when the employee has either broken a policy or a rule, and they've been discharged from work, they've been fired. Okay, quit obviously when the employee decides to leave work through no fault of the employer. Okay. Labor dispute is normally when there is a conflict between the employer and the employee over a union issue. That's when there's a labor dispute. So normally those are different because that usually we get notification of that from a union letting us know there's going to be a massive layoff, and this is the reason why, right? Whether it's a reason the contract hasn't been completed, or there's a wage disparity, and there's an issue with the employer and the union, and the union is involved. That's when it happens. And normally those are very rare, and we usually aren't aware of those way before it actually happens. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I just don't understand if we get fired or quit, we still can apply for the unemployed, right?
Of course, you can still file. You filed regardless. Now, what will happen when there is a discharge or a quit? What's going to happen is that we're going to have an interview. We're going to mail you a letter indicating that you're going to have an interview to discuss the reason of separation. At that time, you will give us the reasons why you either quit or you were let go, you were fired, right? But we'll also have to talk to the employer, okay, to find out what happened. So we will have two stories, and we'll have to sort it out to see whether or not you'll be eligible to receive benefits. So normally people say, well, I got a letter, the UI finding letter says that I was allowed. The UI finding letter only lets you know whether or not you've earned enough wages to qualify for benefits. Okay? But if you were fired or you quit, you will have a second eligibility process to go through, which is the interview. Okay, that's going to determine whether or not you will be eligible to receive benefits based on the reason of separation from the employer. But under a layoff, it's an agreement that there is no work available, so there is no issue.
Mm-hmm. So it means if we quit or we get fired, it still have another process like interview more that they can still get the benefit or not.
Yes,
right?
It all depends on the interview. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan.
No problem. Do we have Okay. Can you go back just one slide? There you go. Okay. So the federal stimulus pandemic package. There it is. Okay. So as of right now, the federal pandemic unemployment compensation package is still active. Okay. Unfortunately, it will end on July 25th.
Oh.
Okay. Yes.
And
so the additional $600 that was being added to your unemployment claim will stop as of July 25th. Now, we don't know if Congress will extend that. We don't know yet. We're dependent on Congress, and we're not talking about the state level. We're talking about the federal level. They'll have to determine whether or not they extend that benefit, or if they re-up it.
We will lay off like 27.
Just one question. For example, if my wife, she's claiming right now unemployment, there's no problem that I would do it too, right? I mean, even though we're from the same house, we're from different companies.
Yes.
And I got 2 kids, so I can still get the one with the beneficiary. Dependent, sorry, with the dependent.
If your spouse is already collecting unemployment, then if she already has a dependent, then she has the dependent for the rest of the benefit year. So all you would be doing is filing a claim without any dependents.
Even though we have 2 kids.
Exactly. So remember what I had mentioned, it's one dependent per household.
I see. Okay, yeah, thank you. That was my question, exactly. Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Now, if you don't qualify, if you have not earned enough wages for regular unemployment and you receive a letter, a UI finding letter that says you're monetarily ineligible to receive benefits, your next option would be to file for a pandemic unemployment assistance claim, which is also known as a PUA. Okay, but you first have to apply for regular unemployment to receive the letter that you're monetarily ineligible to collect regular benefits. Okay, the PUA, it provides up to 39 weeks of unemployment, but this one also ends at the end of the year. Okay, so that's all that is available for that. Okay, so part of that guideline also was that it would allow individuals a chance, like if they had, like if they didn't have a job. Let's say that you dedicate most of your work to working for Uber, and you only work a couple of days out of the week with this job. So if you didn't earn enough wages from your regular job, but you have wages, a lot more wages with Uber, you can use those wages to qualify for the PUA. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. But normally it's for individuals that do not qualify for regular unemployment benefits, though that's what the PUA package is for. Okay. Also, with that, there was an additional 13 weeks of benefits. So when you normally apply for benefits, you get 26 weeks worth of benefits, and then there's an additional 13 weeks that are added to that. Okay, those 13 weeks, they end at the end of the year. So if you're applying for benefits right now, you probably won't be eligible to receive those extra 13 weeks unless Congress extends it by the end of the year. And that's a little bit down the road, so it's kind of hard to determine what's the mindset going to be at that time, and whether or not we're still going to be in this pandemic. So it's kind of hard to tell whether or not someone's going to still receive them at that point, but that's just something that's happening as of right now. Okay, so back to the unemployment. So when you receive your UI finding letter, you're going to receive at the very top of the letter, it's going to tell you when your first certification date is. Okay, and it's going to tell you what day of the week you're going to certify. Everyone is assigned a specific date to certify. Okay, and you certify every 2 weeks. Okay, many people, and I do mean many people, when they first file for unemployment benefits, they think that once they applied, that is all they have to do. They don't have to do anything else to receive benefits. That is not the case. You have to certify every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks you have to certify. You will only receive notification of when to do it the very first time, right? So when you get your first UI finding letter, you're going to receive it. It's going to tell you when your certification is. For example, on this presentation, on this slide, it's going to say that your call-in day is on Tuesday, and you are to start certifying on July 21st. Every 2 weeks, beginning July 21st, you are to certify for benefits. Okay? You do that by either going online to our website or by calling teleserve to certify for benefits. Okay? When you certify online, you're going to go to our website at ides.illinois.gov. It's going to show there, and you're going to click where it says File for Certification. Once you click on that, it'll take you to the screen, and it'll ask you some questions. Next screen. Okay. If you certify over the phone, you're going to call the 312-338-4337. That line is open from 5 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. Okay? Remember, you're designated a date to certify. either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. If for whatever reason you forget to call on your day, Thursday and Friday are always makeup days. Okay? The questions that they'll ask you are on this page right now. So they'll ask you, have you received or will you receive holiday pay during the period of Sunday through Saturday? Did you work during the period of Sunday through Saturday? Has your dependency status changed during the certification period? Were you able and available to work each and every day of the work week? Now, this question is important because some of you may be taking a training, an approved training program. If you're taking an approved training program and you're like, well, I'm in a training program, so I'm not available for work, you still have to answer yes to this question. Okay? Even though you're in an approved training program, you still have to say that yes, you are still receiving, that you're still able and available for work. Okay? The next question, did you actively look for work from Sunday through Saturday? The next question is, have you received or have you applied for Social Security benefits? Are you receiving a pension? Are you attending school? And did you have a workers' compensation claim? All right? A workers' compensation claim is not unemployment. A workers' compensation claim is a claim that you filed if you got injured on the job. Okay? And you're receiving benefits through the employer. Okay? The next two, has your phone number changed or has your mailing address changed? And those are the questions that we'll ask you every 2 weeks. Okay? If there is an issue with your answers, you will receive a notice stating that the reason why you didn't receive a payment. Okay? But normally, if you don't see a deposit into your account in 2 days, you know that there is an issue with one of your answers. Okay? Any questions so far?
Fernando,
Yes.
just wanted to, a couple of things. So when employees separate, I think probably the majority of them will get paid out their vacation because they earned vacation and they have vacation that hasn't been used. So that's going to be paid out on August, the following week after their last day. So that would be like August, August 6th. So they have to report that, right? Just so
Correct.
they know. And then
Yes, they do.
also, and then the other thing is, there is a severance package for each employee. How does that work with unemployment? Is that something that they need to report or no?
Severance in the state of Illinois is considered a gift, so
Okay.
therefore it's not deductible income off their unemployment.
All right, so,
What is vacation pay. So are they going to be paid in a lump sum or are they going to be paid throughout a period of time?
no, they're going to be paid in a lump sum.
Great, well, that makes it easier. So,
Mhm.
and if it's paid in a lump sum, then they have to report the wages that they received the week that they receive them.
Everyone
Okay.
understand?
Yes.
The week that you receive them, that's when you report those wages.
4 weeks, so we have to report.
Not the 4 weeks, not the severance.
Oh,
No, not the severance, but the vacation you'll get in 1 week, so you have to report it only in that week.
oh,
No matter if it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks vacation, it doesn't matter. You
Pero no hay
just
que
report it that 1 week that you got that income,
oh,
okay?
so how about the?
Ahorita que acabemos, sí.
The
¿Tienes más
severance
preguntas?
is fine, you do not have to report the severance.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to report that, just your vacation.
Question, can we file right after, or do we have to wait till the application is like finished, then, file? You know what I mean? Like George just said that we're getting vacation, we're getting that money. As soon as we say the 24th, can we file on the 24th, or do we gotta wait till our vacation is finished, then file?
Fernando?
Okay, I believe I heard a little bit of the question is whether or not they should file right after they're separated for work, or should they wait until after their vacation?
Correct.
Is that the question?
Right, after they get paid out.
Yes, that's the question.
Okay. Normally, we've always say apply when you are separated from work. However, that does create an issue when vacation pay will be paid out, because more than likely the amount that you receive will be over your weekly benefit amount. Unless your vacation is less than the 484, then I would say wait until after. Therefore, you don't have to worry about waiting to see whether or not you're eligible for that week, because at that point you've already received your vacation pay, and therefore you create no issue. So my suggestion would be if everyone's received it the very next week that they're separated, and if there is no, let's say you're separated on the last, this is just for example. Let's say that your last day of work is next week, the 24th, okay? But you receive the vacation pay the very next week, starting the 27th, between the 27th and the 31st of July, you receive your vacation. So for that week, you would have received that money and you're over your weekly benefit amount. So the very first time that you would file for your claim would be on August 3rd. Okay? Because if you file your claim on the 27th and you get paid on that, and you indicate that you're receiving benefits, your claim is still going to get pushed out 1 week if you already know the amount of what you're going to receive. If you don't know the amount, then my suggestion would be for you to wait until after you receive after that first week, if that is the case, that you're going to be paid the very next week after your separation. Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. And are they going to be receiving the payment right afterwards?
Their vacation, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Then my suggestion would be you apply after you receive your vacation pay. Okay. Now, some individuals will also want to know what happens if I start working part-time while I'm collecting unemployment. Will that affect my unemployment? Yes. And to some extent, it does affect your unemployment. So for this part of the presentation, we're going to use 400 as your weekly benefit amount as an example. Okay. So if you get a part-time job and you earn $400 in gross wages, that means before taxes. If your weekly benefit amount is $400, and let's say that you have a part-time job, and in this part-time job, let's say you earn $150. Well, $150 is less than half of the $400. As long as you report the wages, right, that you earned, you'll still receive the full $400. Okay? If you are working and you earn $300, that's $100 more than half. Okay, so $100 will be deducted from your unemployment. Okay, so if it's less than half, you'll still receive the full amount. Anything from half up to the amount of your weekly benefit amount will be deducted dollar for dollar. Does that make sense? And of course, if you make over your weekly benefit amount, then you're not eligible to receive benefits because you will be, by definition, gainfully employed. Any questions on that part?
Can you go back one slide? Thank you. Okay, thanks.
Question? Not at the moment.
Okay. Do we still need the slide, or do we go to the next?
No, we're good. Thank
Okay.
you.
We're on the claim summary page slide.
Yeah, mine seems to have frozen on how earnings affect your UI benefits. Just give me a second. Okay, claim summary. So your claim summary page is gives you a confirmation number that you've certified for benefits. Okay, you always want to have a copy of this because it keeps you keep a record of when you certified. Okay, it'll tell you when the effective date of your claim, but it'll also give you information as to what you're supposed to do next. When is your next certification? So always keep that handy. The very next part at the very bottom will give you your Illinois Job Link username and password. Now, when you file for unemployment benefits, you automatically are given a username for Illinois Job Link. Illinois Job Link is the website that the state created to help you look for employment. It also is a website where employers can submit job orders or job openings in the area. So let's say, for example, that you are a welder and you're looking for work in DuPage area. Okay, so you'll enter your information, right? You'll create a resume. You'll enter your information. You'll tell the system where you live, how far you're willing to travel for work, and the system will actually let you know of job openings with that criteria. Okay. So one of the things that you have to do, obviously, is to create a resume. Now, if you have one already on file, you can upload your resume. Okay, and it'll be up there. It'll ask you a series of questions, and then you'll just you'll upload your resume, and your job link requirement will be complete. If not, then you will have to follow the steps to create one. Okay, and you can have as many resumes as you like. On our website, there is no limit. You can have as many, like let's say that you want to have one where it only deals with manufacturing, or you want to deal one that only deals with other services that you've done or other skill sets that you have. So you can have multiple resumes on our website. Okay, where it says job title, you want to enter the job position that you're seeking. Okay.
So I have a question here.
Sure, go ahead.
So in this link, do I need to create the user for login or not for this one?
To create, sorry, I didn't get that last part.
So, I mean, like, do I have to, what I say?
Create a user.
Yeah, create a user for upload for this.
Do you have to create a username?
Yeah.
No, the system automatically creates a username for you. The only thing that you have to do is create a new password.
Okay.
Because once you file for unemployment benefits, the letter that you receive, the UI finding letter, will also have your information for your Illinois Job Link, and it'll tell you. After that, also if you file your claim online, at the claim summary page, it'll tell you what your username and password. Well, your username is, not your password. It'll tell you what your username is for Illinois Job Link. When the first time that you file for that you sign on to Illinois Job Link, your password will be your Social Security number. As soon as you enter that, it'll ask you to create a new password.
I mean the one that I need to upload our resume inside it, and then any job that you will know that notice to us, something like that. Because this one. So next I will try to, I may seek the job because I have my skill that I have a resume I want to upload here.
Yeah, you can. You can definitely do that. You can actually do that. And you can also, for those of you that have time now, you could actually go on to Illinois Job Link right now. You don't have to wait until you file for your unemployment benefits. You can go to Illinois Job Link right now, create an account, and once you file for unemployment benefits, your account with Illinois Job Link will link with your unemployment claim.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So when you're trying to set up your resume, you're going to enter the job title for the position that you're looking for. That way the system knows what type of jobs to look for you.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Can you fill this out?
Thank you.
Can you fill that out?
Okay. Next slide. Okay. So, if you, when you're searching for a job, you know, you're going to click on the link where it says looking for a job, right? And you're going to do a job search. So you're going to tell you what type of job are you looking for. You're going to type the information in. You're going to ask it in what zip code, so basically where you live. Or let's say that you want to go look for work somewhere else. Let's say you want to look for work in Champaign. So you're going to enter Champaign's zip code, right, 61801, and then you're going to say, I want to look for works within Champaign that are about 20 miles from there. So if you click on that, it'll show you the positions that are available within that area.
It means the location, right, of the...
Yes.
Okay, the job posting, okay.
Correct.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hey, quick question, but because like I live in Cook County. I mean, since this is for every county. I mean, every county. It doesn't matter, right?
Yes, every county in Illinois.
Okay, good.
Oh.
Every and all counties. Okay. So once the job list is created, you can click on the link, right? You can click on the job posting, and it will give you information of that job posting, right? So for this one, it was last uploaded on the 21st of April, and it's a forklift operator job in Waukegan. Okay, so if you wanted to see what that job was, you would click on the link. Can we go to the next screen? Go ahead.
Okay, one question. If I'm file my application in this link, then if I have any question, do you have any contact for me to ask or not for this one?
If you file for
I mean during I file this, if
During the process.
yeah, I have a question, so who gonna support? You have the number that I can call for more information.
Are you referring to the job or for unemployment?
No, the job.
For the job link. Oh,
Yeah.
if you're talking specifically for the, like, let's say for example there's a job that you like and you want to know whether or not the job is still available, or if you wanted to contact somebody concerning the job.
No.
Is that the question?
That also the question, but I mean, during I fall in your website, then maybe I don't know how to file it. Maybe I have some question during I file this. So do you have any contact that I can ask for if I have any question for filing this application, something like that?
Yeah, you can contact Claimant Services, but also my contact information will be at the end of the presentation. So you can jot down my email, and if you have any questions, just send me an email.
Yeah.
The email is probably the fastest way to get a hold of me.
Yeah, if I...
Yeah, but it'll be posted at the end of the presentation.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so back to Illinois Job Link. So Illinois Job Link also keeps a record of all the places or all the jobs that you've looked at. So it, in essence, it creates a virtual work search. So if for whatever reason we call you and say, hey, can you present us a work search for the last 2 weeks? And if you've been using Illinois Job Link, you can go into Illinois Job Link, you can click on work search record, and it'll tell you everything that you've looked for.
Okay.
Okay? Tells you right there to create. If you want to create a new work search where you have to enter the information in yourself, you could also do that as well. Okay. You could add the activity. So let's say that you looked at a job that's not listed on Illinois Job Link, or you found it somewhere else. You can just go ahead and click the information, tell us what it was. Okay, what was the name of the title? A little bit too fast. Can you go back one screen? There you go. You can tell us what the job title was, what the company was, and what you did. Okay. What was the method of contact? Was it in person? Was it over the phone? And then you tell us what the result was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, normally, when you don't have to tell us or you don't have to submit to us a work search every 2 weeks, if we need something from you, like a work search, we would notify you by mail.
Okay.
We would let anybody know that if we were questioning whether or not you're looking for work, we're going to send you a letter, and let you know we need you to present us a work search for this period of time. Okay,
all right.
But you still have to keep a record of it because we can ask you for it at any time.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Once you've completed your registration, okay, with Illinois JobLink, because it is a requirement. So if you file for unemployment benefits, you still have to complete your Illinois JobLink requirement. Okay. So in other words, you still have to have a resume posted within the first 7 days of you filing for unemployment benefits. Okay. Once you've met the criteria, once you've completed the requirements, at the very top on the left-hand screen, it's going to say UI registered, and it's going to be in green. Once it's in green, that means that you fulfill the requirement.
Okay.
Okay? If it's not in green, right, it's going to be in red. It's going to say UI registration incomplete. Okay? That means you're still missing something.
Oh.
Okay? And the 9 out of 10 is that you're missing to complete the resume. Okay? So just be mindful of that. So you have 7 days from once you file your unemployment claim to complete the Illinois JobLink registration requirement.
So this Illinois JobLink is open for all kind of job, right? For
Yes,
this one?
it is open for all kinds of jobs. Okay. Now, we're not saying that you have to use Illinois JobLink exclusively to look for your work. Okay, but it is a requirement for you to complete the registration once you sign up for unemployment benefits. So you can sign up for unemployment benefits, complete your Illinois JobLink registration, and you don't have to use it to look for work. You can use something else. You can use Indeed, Monster. You can use any other type of method to look for employment. You don't have to necessarily have to look for work only through Illinois JobLink.
Oh.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and as my name should be at the bottom of that, but again, my name is Fernando Reyna. My email is my first and last name, Fernando, FERNANDO .Reyna, REYNA @illinois.gov.
Una pregunta, ¿hablas español?
Sí, claro.
Okay, gracias, solo.
Yeah, we have 4 individuals in the office that speak Spanish, so if I'm not able to respond to your email or a question, I will. We do have other people that speak Spanish as well.
Okay, thank you.
Fernando, it's
Thanks a lot.
Susie. I will go, Fernando, I went ahead and entered your email into the chat box, so they should be able to view your email address.
Okay.
And then my apologies, I didn't know that you wanted your contact information on the slide, so I will go ahead and put that in for the next 2 presentations.
Sure, no problem.
Thanks a lot, Fernando. It was very valuable information. We'll allow just a few minutes here for any other questions related to employment and training, continuing health coverage, or anything Fernando talked about with respect to unemployment insurance. Folks at Doumak, are there any questions about those things?
Yeah.
Training, grant, and job.
In this case,
Like I have skill in telecom before. I can contact them for the.
We'll get that information to you guys, so we'll print it, give it to you.
Oh, yeah, thank you, yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah.
Fernando's not, yeah. Sorry, will you repeat what you said? He said something.
Oh, I'm just asking if there are any last questions about employment and training activities, continuing health coverage, or unemployment insurance.
Any other questions?
Oh, and for this one.
Okay,
That's with them.
okay. No, I think we're good right now, no questions.
Very good. Thank you very much. We appreciate everybody who participated. We encourage you to take advantage and utilize the resources that are available. I do want to stress that grant that Susie Pajera talked about at the American Job Center does not have to be paid back. These are our federal tax dollars at work. We encourage folks to utilize this training grant in particular because it's an opportunity to gain a skill that may not have otherwise been available. So work with American Job Center, Susie Pajera at DuPage, or whatever American Job Center to immediately research what opportunities are available. We encourage folks to do that. We appreciate everybody's time. Susie, Fernando, or Scott, do you have any last information you want to share?
Thank you.
So this is Susie. So if you can take a moment to fill out the form that Dorothy has provided, that will then get sent over to me. And then I will reach out to you via email or phone so that we can get you connected to resources and services if you're interested in doing that. As you see on the slide, you have our contact information. We provided Fernando's email in the chat box. So if after the webinar you have any questions, please reach out to us. We also have 2 more sessions to do today. So if a question comes up, please feel free to leave it with the human resource staff, and I'm sure they can ask the question during the other sessions and we can get you the answer then.
Yeah, we'll do that. If they have any other questions, we'll gather them, email it to all of you.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Fantastic. And just as an FYI, these are recorded, and at some point I'll email the link to the recordings of the webinar.
That's perfect.
Fantastic. Well, if there's nothing else, we appreciate everybody's time. We'll be back for 2 more today, as Susie just mentioned, and we look forward to helping Doumak employees with these valuable resources. Have a great rest of the day.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Talk to you later.